5 years, a series of rubbish, conflicts, joys, uncommon interests, grievances, travels and much more. A picture of a perfect wedding, a dream that has evaporated, a dream that has become a harsh, rough reality, has cracked. Now it is too late to find out who was right and who was wrong. Each of us didn't want to be the first to say that we wanted to break up. A family psychologist, the one that was recommended by Lyosha, who was recommended to him by his psychotherapist, and the one who went to this family psychologist with his girlfriend. It's a chain. I don't know if it's happy or not, but it entails something new. 18th, 13th, 000 year. After 3 meetings, it became clear that we have different interests, we love in a different way, but we become cold in the same way. And it seems that it is not the magnets that have turned the poles, and it seems that they are attracted to each other, but more out of habit, kinship, misfortune, friendship. The only thing that is missing is interest. 19th, 13th year 0. No one expected such a reversal, but we were advised to part ways. The money savings are obvious, and the benefits are blue. Soon this city will be a complete stranger to me. One more meeting, one more frontier, one more end or one more Rubicon, and the psychologist will ask us to have the last word. Probably, it will be thank you and goodbye, closing the last gestalt. 22nd, 13th of the 0 year. I feel like a traveler at a train station or a starship trooper. I'm waiting for permission to return home from a distant space base after a long, grueling siege of the fortresses of marriage. I also feel close to my almost ex in our quiet studio, like a part-time student who has just graduated. The one who struggled long and hard for 5 years, worried, worked the works of scientists and graduated from the university. Now almost a graduate is lying on a bed in the dormitory, smoking a cigarette right in the room, blowing smoke into the white ceiling. He can't believe it's over. There is silence all around. All the graduate's friends have already left, and he is lying on the bed in this strange, huge city in a stateroom, smoking and listening to the melody of the 5th violin sonata, faintly coming from a blue plastic radio nailed to the wall with faded wallpaper. Everything is unusual for him, because all these 5 years he has been running, taking exams in the evenings, studying at night, waiting for grades, and now everything is over here. 5 years of fuss, worries, and anxieties are over. He passed everything. I've come a long way. Be quiet. He had already packed his bags, put them closer to the door, and lay down to rest. The bus is still a few hours away. A student scrolls through the film and sees a timeline of events in front of his eyes, frame by frame. How glad he was to enter this university. How glad he is to finish it. He'll come home, of course, he'll throw a party. Enough allegory, though. It's all too fun. But you should be sad. But the tears are all wept. 24th, 13th year 0. Continuing the topic of universities, mine is almost X. In exactly a month she receives a real diploma of the 2nd higher education, and a new life lies ahead. Definitely, both my life and hers have come to an end. A diploma, a divorce, a new life, a new apartment. I feel like a guide. For the umpteenth time, I've pushed myself to the brink and it's time for me to go. No, I want to change something, but what else can I change? 26th, 13th, year 0. I leave all the stuff, all the scrub, the hornbeam, everything is here. I won't be able to rent 2 apartments. Yes, I will have to go back to my parents for a while. The ship goes home to the base, to a room where smoking is prohibited, but there is always delicious food, where you can always have a heart-to-heart talk with your loved ones. There, but still home. Well, it's kind of sad and easy, but I can do it. I'm going to go to the seaside. I'm going to dust my bike. I'm going to take it to my parents. For the last 2 years, it's been turned into an ashtray, my favorite southern city. That's where I'm going to take him. 27th, 13th year 0. You have to live by the sea, Mom. I'll listen to Poliskova, or better go to her concert in the fall. And I'll order tickets right now. 28th, 13th year 0. I won't listen to Poliskov, Pop. 29th, 13th year 0. I'm on the balcony in my usual environment, looking at the sea in the dark. Somewhere out there, the boats are flashing lights. In fact, you can't see the sea, but you feel it, its power, healing power, gentle touches of the wind. Maybe somewhere 70 kilometers away. In the holy city, she also writes her diary to vent someone. Today we didn't write to each other and there was silence on the air. We broke up more than a week ago, but my heart is ticking like an old clock, regurgitating pain, anger, gratitude, peace. It will probably stop now. The best way out of the situation is sleep. Many, many, many dreams and dreams, food, see, sleep again. And so on until the moment when the pain is finally dulled. The main thing now is not to rush to start a new relationship, although I can't even think about it, and I don't want to. There is a desire to have a relationship with oneself. Sit and listen to your own radio waves. Tune into your inner receiver. What did I want when I was little? Where, in fact, am I, and where is society? What do I really want, and what does society want from me? A psychologist once advised you to write down for 2 weeks what you want and what you do for what you need, and then you can pull out some motivation from there if you don't really want to dream yet. I think about her old cat, the fact that after I left, he stopped going out and lives in the bathroom with his dementia. It's a pity, a terrible pity for him and for her. For her, it is the last soul mate in this country, and it is slowly fading away along with our feelings. But then there's Kitty and One Eye. Sometimes I miss them, my cats. The habit of saying splash, cat, remained. I used to say this only to cats, but now I say this to the dog, to the iRobot, to the people around me, to the cars instead of a signal. It's strange, it seems like he should be sad and write something sad, but it turns out to be some kind of humorous sarcasm again. Probably, when you start writing and look at all your problems from the point of view of the text and letters, everything comes out somehow ridiculous and far-fetched. Writing and writing make even Grumic smile. 31.13.00 I fly somewhere, study, create something in the continuous flow of work and workaholism, not noticing anything around me, but I am grateful for this cycle, the funnel of affairs. It calms us down and makes us strive somewhere and not stop, not to get stuck in sadness and thoughts that everything did not work out for us. But no, such thoughts roll over during the day. You want to get angry, blame, show Kuzka's mother, but after a second you begin to wonder and think, if I'm so bad, then I'm wrong myself. And then you start looking for an excuse for words. You don't believe the truth, you don't want to admit the truth, even writing is somehow scary, as my mega psychologist said, and I'm glad to be deceived myself. Afterwards I read about what disillusionment is. We perceive disappointment as something negative, but it is actually a gift to see things as they are, honestly, and to choose a clear path. In my opinion, this idea belongs to Millman and his character from Peace War, 32 to 13 of Year Zero. We're not coming back, deep down I want to believe, to keep up the correspondence. But the instinct of self-preservation keeps saying, leave it, put up with it, it will be easier this way. 38.13.00 The other day I had a dream that I was lying in bed with a dolphin, stroking it, and it looked at me pitifully. Then I sew up his wound on his forehead with light threads, or rather patch up the patch. I read Sonic and came to the conclusion that I was sewing up my sad personal life. I went to her Facebook now, I look at the photos. How she has aged during her time with me. I've aged too, but it's a pity it didn't work out again. And it all started so well. That's perfect, a wedding where everyone cried with emotion. A beautiful 5-minute video, without any doubt. This is exactly the girl I've been dreaming of all my life. Even the poems at the wedding I read about it. Now I'm listening to tracks, watching videos. Cayman, how could this all end? Again, I wonder if we could go back to each other again. The 10th, or rather the 101st, 13th of the 0 year. To come back to make each other's lives empty and sterile again, where everyone is busy with themselves, their careers, but we live together. Everyone dreams of stardom. I'm still reaching for her, getting angry, getting caught up in things. Then she suddenly reaches out to me, but I get angry that she didn't reach out earlier and reject her. I'm to her, she's from me. I need attention, she needs her own space. How to change everything, and is it possible? Still, somewhere in the soul, some string is hoping for something again, but the other side is screaming. Come on, it's over. 121.14.00. Sometimes, or rather often, I begin to live in a new way. Everything is somehow very unusual, even to breathe air. It feels like I'm standing on the shore of a cool waterfall and I'm ready to jump in, leave everything behind. I really want to jump, but I'm afraid of losing what is left behind. And I also don't want to give up common words, slang, expressions, all sorts of niceties, gracious, diminutives, but, damn, you have to. 129th, 14th, 0 year. So jump, let's go. What is yours will remain yours. You are free, you can. And who is waiting for you? The soul screams. Wait, says the body. Just a little longer, says the mind. I don't give up so easily. And you know, I'm probably going to jump. Although it's scary to lose what you can't lose. The illusion that everything can still be different, that everything can be returned, that we will improve, that everyone will understand that they were wrong in something, and in fact, whether it is necessary to correct themselves, whether it is necessary to reproach themselves and scroll through the frames for the 1000th time, asking what I would do in my place today, what could I do? Correct. I'm talking to a psychologist, it's perfectionism, nothing else. Accept yourself as you are, with your desires. And then you won't have to correct yourself, trying to fit yourself for the next reincarnation every time. That's right, the reincarnation of love. I wrote a story about it. Sweet, but maybe you'll like it. The reincarnation of marriages. Womanizer looks at her breasts, a serious man on his butt. And only the poet is straight to the soul. Illusion. I don't know what the others saw in this photo, maybe a décolleté or something else, but I found an open book with a rich silk-wrapped binding. I printed the girl on the other end of an optical cable carrying an encoded beam of light. In response, I saw 3 flickering dots in the virtual tunnel. She was just typing. You're probably a genius, said the one behind the nickname. It's an illusion. No, I'm just a mere mortal. Have we met before? I ask. I look at the profile. His eyes are green and his hair is red. A woman is looking for a man. Nothing else is indicated, only a photo where everyone sees something different. Yes, you are not mistaken. We know each other. There was a case, the stranger answers. How small is the world? And who are you? Open your cards. We met right there, but a long time ago. We even met, but it didn't go any further, the illusion replies. Oh, if I saw you once, even once, I'd remember right away. I type back. I would like to, but it is forbidden to exchange such information here, you know. The filters are standing. A day later, my friend replies. Tell me, why is it so? Such a small universe, the collapse of hopes, the end of life, disappointment, and once again you return to the same chat. And here are the same characters over and over again, except for a few new ones. It's kind of boring, and I don't want to step on these old rakes again. I remember our last conversation. You're here today and tomorrow you're there. What the hell are the kids? He went in to stroke the heads and rushed back to his impossible dreams. Double whammy. Perhaps it is easy for women to throw such a phrase. Just to shrink. But I won't forget that carelessly thrown remark. And what does she care about my dreams? I'm furious. I don't know how to answer. I grab a hook and a cigarette like a fish. I choke on acrid smoke. I'm shaking nervously. I want to die, and to respond even more painfully and destroy everything. You know, I think the kids are going to stop you from going to Africa. So get ready quickly, fail, fulfill your pop mission, help strangers. After all, you are still too infantile to give birth to children of your own. I parry the blow with whatever I can, just to respond. Why do you always ruin my mood? Flutters wet eyelashes like a butterfly flutters its wings. I don't want to continue this fight anymore, but the red-haired girl continues. I had such a great last evening in the company of friends. We laughed. Everything was mental, spiritual, resourceful, light. And then you, another meeting in this most disgusting gray kitchen. Again you start this record. Why don't you want children? Why we don't communicate, and so on. The psychologist advised us to talk about how we feel after the consultation. Sorry, I didn't want to. I thought I was doing everything right, because sometimes you just have to solve something. You know, you need to solve something. I was hoping to save everything, but apparently it will really be better for you to be free, alone, without me, thanks to the consultant we came to improve the relationship, and that as a result, after another quarrel, we sincerely cry for our relatives, and I can't look into the eyes of the cats. When I slam the door again forever and here I am driving in the car, I remember how we dance in the yard. Here I am shaving something, I invent furniture out of nothing. Here we paint it together, sculpt it from clay. Later our friends will say it's a masterpiece. Your home is so special, like an artist's dwelling. There's an incredible atmosphere here. There's love here. There's peace here. I could never have imagined that everything would happen like this. You were a perfect couple. Yes, once upon a time, somewhere out there. How can you? I don't remember your name, whether it's Lena Angelica, maybe Rachel, but no, it's all just an illusion. We met when you say, I'm typing. I've been waiting for a day, 2, 3. Now I don't smoke anymore. I take care of life and cartridges where almost a week has passed, and yours no more than a day. And so you answer, it seemed to everyone around us that we were a union from God. We thought so too. Oh, you know, I don't remember everything. It's been an eternity, to be honest. Will you send me a picture? The most ordinary, paper one. I know you can't do it here, but let's hack this system. Send it by regular mail. You've probably forgotten where we are, and we're not new. There are no letters, no mail, no addresses. Just remember, a woman is looking for a man. His eyes are green and his hair is red. In the morning, he eats raw fish. His palm is dotted with lines, like an old woman's. If we meet in the next cycle, let's stop making furniture. Let's better create something to take with you on the way out of this eternal dating site. Help me never come back here again. I'm so tired of being a serial monogamist. Signature, illusion. Okay, I'll give it a try. Even though I don't believe in success anymore, I say, and already, as I have done so many times, I turn into a kind of sweet carbonated foam, leaving the central distribution point of the information cloud with the cute name Purgatory. 139.15.00. A taste of freedom within 500 meters of the house. My first trip in 2 months. There is so much in this word. Overcoming the 4 walls was difficult. For several hours, I wandered from room to room, washing dishes, packing things, watching the news, looking for new information on social media. Gremlin or subodor. This is the name of that ancient psychological mechanism that keeps us tightly within 4 walls and finds any reason not to leave the very comfort zone that we are so eager to leave. All that's left to do is jump into the abyss. Want to get to know the gremlin better? I think knowing him by sight will help all of us. So read the next chapter or just skip it. Take a look at the photo. Do you recognize your friend? Yes, that's the one you know very well. Your faithful childhood friend. Your faithful childhood friend, accompanying each of us from the cradle. This inner voice is our constant companion. Remember, he says, "Hey, you're a loser." No, not today, or repeats, "Look at the weather outside, and you're still going out." Sometimes he resembles an overprotective Polish mother who protects her incapable, insecure child. How, are you flying to Machu Picchu? Haha. Well, look at how many stops there are along the way. Do you know that you can be robbed, your luggage stolen? No, don't stick your head out alone. How will people look at you? Alone, in Marrakesh or there, on Machu Picchu? No. And once again he repeats to you and reads Brodsky's poems. Don't go outside, T is not France on the street. Gremlin or saboteur shaitan, shaitan in Hebrew, shaitan in Arabic. No, friends, I'm not crazy and I'm not lecturing you on esoterics, it's pure science. For a long time, psychologists have come to the conclusion that perhaps since Neolithic times there has been some kind of protective psychological mechanism in us, which in ancient times saved us from fights with pterodactyls, but many thousands of years later evolved. He became a kind of gremlin, as he was first called by the famous psychologist Rick Carson. He has turned into someone who hinders our growth and freedom, forces us to withdraw into himself, and does not let us go beyond the four comfortable walls. Our friend, in quotation marks, is very cunning and smart, always knows how to find the right argument and step on the right corn. Why? Because he has been with us since birth. Sabor has a full archive of failures and defeats in his arsenal. Our failures and defeats. He can always remember what he needs, and in case of failure, he can also mock you. I told you couldn't do it. However, you get up, buy a ticket and, in spite of this nasty inner voice, go far away. In reality, everything happens in a way that could not have been dreamed of, and even if there's an overlap, well, everything ended well. Then, sitting in a warm armchair by the fireplace, you can show off photos from a desperate journey, drink cognac, show off to friends. And the gremlin? And what about the gremlin? He sits somewhere on the sidelines and is silent. He has nothing to say, he just lost, he shriveled up like an old sock. So how do you deal with it? Or maybe you don't have to fight, but just accept. There are many opinions, but psychologists say, just notice it. Understand that somewhere in your mind you live, authentic, unique and original, and somewhere, a gremlin telling you about failures, fears, and defeats. Now we know there's a gremlin, and it's not me, it's him. Now we know how to separate it. You can understand and control your personal gremlin even more like this. Draw it on paper and then give the gremlin a name. For example, my name is Boring Beetle, but what's your name? Now that we know what our personal gremlin looks like and what its name is, we will be able to separate this monster from ourselves, understand it, and even tell it. Gremlin, thanks for the advice, but it would be better if you didn't waste your energy and get some sleep. Rest. So, each gremlin has its own appearance and name. However, once we understand the mechanism, we can safely jump into the waterfall and make our dreams come true. 145 BC Year Zero. My secret weapon against depression is my Irasonant, my faithful horse. It's better than a Ferrari, although the color is similar. For more than 2 years now, I have been trying to tame this wild Mustang. At first he kicked and snorted, and my limbs didn't want to move or push him at all. I gave up. But my bike is so beautiful that no matter how lazy I am, it still attracts me more than any oriental beauty. I came back again, and he accepted me as his own, as his beloved. First in the hills of Jerusalem, and then in the plains of the south. In the mem, I wrote from above with enthusiastic pathos, but I wanted something more soulful. Don't jinx it, will you? I'll tell you, it's an incredible feeling, it's just a fantastic feeling. Imagine, for 20 years, I've been used to being in a wheelchair and feeling like a wheelchair user. I never dreamed that one day I would be able to get on a bicycle and move it with my own foot. Sometimes I just pedal the exercise bike, pushing my legs with my hands. So, how did it all start? Once upon a time, about 19 to 20 years ago, I lived in a small Belarusian town. I wasn't more than 20 at the time. First my back hurt, then they treated me for sciatica, hormones, and other shit. And after 3 years of their healing, it turned out that I had a huge tumor in my spinal cord. The doctors said to go home, the operation was useless. Live as long as you live, and I left. For several months I read philosophical works, looked for psychics, healers, and religion. Then he gave up on everything and opened his own small business. It helped me take my mind off my thoughts. As time went on, my gait changed. People looked at me and said, "I'm drunk." I'd be ashamed. "I've been drunk since morning." Over time, sensitivity began to disappear. I could burn my leg with a smoldering incense stick and not feel anything. However, at some point, I suddenly felt better. I really wanted to do sports. My parents, my kind, good parents, gave me an exercise bike for my birthday and I began to train hard. First I drove 7 kilometers, then 15 kilometers. I was so happy. But literally on the 3rd day, I practically stopped walking. I began to leave the car in the yard, because I could not walk even 100 to 200 meters to the garage. In general, I destabilized my position very dramatically with the help of the bike. I quickly packed up and left for Israel. Thanks to the help and support of a wonderful man, the Israeli consul Ron Schechter, I took the first flight to the Holy Land. An ambulance was waiting for me right at the airport. Thanks to Ron's help, I was operated on by the best neurosurgeon in Israel. My life was saved, but I ended up in a wheelchair. A little later, my parents arrived and brought this ill-fated heavy exercise bike. By flight. Take it with you. Idea? They didn't bring my favorite painting, but this one is great. I really wanted to climb it again. There was absolutely no movement in the legs. I couldn't climb from above, but I removed the seat, drove up in my chair from behind, tied my legs to the pedals with elastic bandages, and used my hands to push my legs. A year or two passed, and I began to move my right leg again, just a little bit. The exercise bike that helped to lose movement gradually began to help to regain it. This is how the passion for bicycles was born. Now I have a very cool red trike. Wow! What's that, Dad? What is it? The children ask their parents at the sight of my 3-wheeled friend. It's a wheel mobile, baby, the father replies. When you grow up, we'll buy you the same one. For me, the delight of children is the highest reward. Even though I drive at the speed of a turtle in my unusual vehicle, I have never in my life caused so much excitement. None of these people have the slightest idea that my usual mode of transportation is in a wheelchair. By the way, I also began to get out of the habit of my standard means of transportation. First of all, no matter what kind of stroller it is, sports or ordinary, it is completely uncomfortable for walking. On it, you need to constantly keep a balance, push yourself with your hands and look somewhere in the gap between the asphalt and human butts. It's different on the bike, at least on my trike. You ride comfortably in your chair. There is no problem to jump on the curb, you look up and are not afraid of falling backwards, and people stop you and ask, "Where did you buy this miracle?" And you tell them your story, of course. In general, for me, pedaling with my feet, or rather only with my right foot, is very, very cool. It's like I'm walking, you know? It's also a huge dream that is starting to come true. Surely you have ever had a dream in which you were flying above the ground, sometimes pushing your feet off the ground, taking off again, jumping over the tops of the trees. Imagine that you woke up after such a dream, went outside. You go out on the street, and you know for sure that here and now this is a 100% harsh reality. But all of a sudden, you push off the ground with your foot and take off, just like in a dream. Idea? You absolutely can't believe you can fly. But you do. Once again, you push off and soar even higher. And you're hovering above the ground, looking down on everything, and basically you don't need anything anymore. You just fly around and enjoy the views around you. I feel the same way when I'm riding my bike and pedaling. I've been disappointed many times. My bike was rusting in the rain. In one day, I could drive 200 meters. The next day, my limbs didn't move at all. Or rather, they moved, but it's like a dream, in magic jelly. They looked like they were stuffed with cotton wool. You know, it's like running away from someone. But it's running in place, like in a dream. Why am I telling you all this in the first place? Well, I'm just sharing. Absolutely no morality. Although I will say that I want to remember this feeling forever and never forget it. To make sure that it does not become covered with the crust of routine, so that it does not become something secondary. I don't want to say trivial didactic phrases, but how much we have. I want to really learn to appreciate what I have. I have very, very much. I can drop everything and go for a bike ride. You know, it's unbelievably cool. I can tell you about it. It will give me strength and I will share my inspiration with you. 145th, 15th, year 0. Today I got to the dunes, almost to the exit of the city. The smell of rain burned his nostrils like cocaine. To the left, an orchestra of crickets played from the sand dunes. To the right, I could hear the yapping of a small dog. I couldn't see her, but the dog was barking so loudly, screaming, as if he was saying, "Hear me." From above, a huge electric spider played with warm reflections of light, moving from lantern to lantern. Somewhere on the fence hung a map of the world of an aspiring writer. He really wanted those who rush to work every day at great speed, and come back tired in the evening, to believe in his world. 147th, 15th, year 0. Today I climbed very far to my favorite hotel. There are only 3 of them in our city, but there can be 4, and this one stands on the outskirts of the sea, wild and free. For me, it's a kind of dolphin hotel from Murakami's novel. A lively hotel with a soul, where someone is constantly crying, but mine is not. No one is crying. My hotel is a kind of castle, where moments of triumph take place, where you can celebrate a victory, invite guests to a ball. In winter, you can feel sad watching the storm, then as the waves explode and the rocks are covered with white foam. Listen to the noise of the great elements, drink whiskey, look at the flying saucer opposite. And then you can go to the dining room and watch the twilight break through the stained glass walls. The rain is creeping in drops, and you sit in the warmth of the 5th table, take more wine and crispy snacks, wait for the next performance. This hotel is mine, and the coast is mine, and the park is mine, too. The most characteristic thing is that I do not need to legally possess all this. I can always create my own world. And by the way, it is gradually materializing. And by the way, it is gradually materializing. And by the way, it is gradually materializing. In this hotel, I spoke at the festival, the Israeli equivalent of TEDx. And then there was my friend Alex Pressler, who once invited my sister and me to dinner. It was very cool. Thank you very much to everyone involved. I could write a novel about this hotel, probably. I love it when it shines on me at night with its red neon letters and beckons me to come to it. I love it when it shines on me at night with its red neon letters and beckons me to come to it. And next to it is my favorite wild coast and a monument to a flying saucer. And then there's the moon. Almost no one is here at night. If you add guitar and wine to this mix, it turns out to be nice. Oh, how many amorous adventures this coast remembers. But more on them later. Wild foxes and jackals howl here at night. I'm writing right now, and they're pouring into roll calls. It sounds a bit ominous, but I love them. As soon as the sun goes over the edge of the sea on all sides, opening the way to the dark blue sky, the sand dunes begins a Sorry if it's somehow comical, but it's actually quite dark. Tens of hundreds of voices and so on every night. They say twilight has come and our time has come. And in this way, the animals check whether there are enough voices in their packs and whether it is time to give birth to new wolf cubs. 152nd, 15th, year 0. How do I explain the mood swings in my legs and arms? Today I rush like a madman, without looking back at the border, dreaming of driving around the whole city. And on the morrow, or rather on the 3rd day, my body, heavy as if filled with lead, and my will weakens. I can't bring myself to move. Everything feels like you're trying to run away from someone in a dream. It's like trying to run away from someone in a dream, but you're marking time or moving with difficulty, like you're dragging an elephant behind you. What's the matter? Maybe I wore the wrong jeans, or the reason is that I didn't drink protein for 2 days? Or too little distance between the seat and the pedal? Maybe what seemed like a huge achievement 2 weeks ago is no longer inspiring? Or maybe you just want to sit on a bench, watching life rush back and forth along this road artery. Sometimes you try to do everything and miss the sunset, but sometimes it's nice just to stretch your legs and watch the passersby, their conversations, their dogs, their sly smiles. I don't know about you, but in my city, people walk along the sea every day. Each of them is dressed like a professional athlete in fashionable sneakers with a bandana and a stylish water bottle. Some walk together, others alone, many are busy on their phones, talking about something. I once listened to their conversations. Moses, I earned 500 shekels yesterday. Yes, so what? So I bought a new blanket for 400 at a discount. What are you? And the day before yesterday I bought such cool glasses on a super offer. Yes, for how much? For only 200 shekels, 153rd, 15th, year 0. It looks like I've found the reason for yesterday's difficulty in the movement. I was scared. As a result, it turned out that it was all just a brake pad that had moved off one side. I had to learn how to repair. I grabbed my tools and flashlight, went back to base, and fixed the problem. I'm going to test it now. I hope for success. 155th, 15th, year 0. I'm sitting in a park, listening to a webinar. Suddenly, Santa Claus comes up to me on an electric bike and says, "Great, that's cool, you have a great one," and I'm telling him, "Let's snap. I just shaved off my beard yesterday." As a result, we had a joint selfie. It's a pity that our bikes didn't fit into the frame completely, but even so, I was very glad to meet this fabulous grandfather looking. On this biker with a white beard, I imagine what I would look like in a dozen years. I think my grandfather showed up for a reason. It's definitely egregore. There is a very wild coast in my city at the edge of the world. I used to love coming here by car, parking in the caravan parking lot and looking at the sea without getting out of the car. The internal boundaries prevented me from unloading myself outward. The inner gremlin whispered to me, "There's sand all around, the wheels will get stuck, you'll get stuck on one of those slopes and you won't be able to come back." Today, everything has changed. I love uninhabited shores. On my bike, I made my way to the very edge of the land. To the very game. Suddenly, the chain came off. I tried to shoot the sunset with a 360-degree camera and create a multi-camera effect, but as always, things didn't go according to plan. As a result, the chain returned to its place. A couple of times with a plaintive creak, there was a smell of seaweed in the air and my head was spinning. Peach veins on the delicate turquoise sea, a real path leading to the sand, like a scenery in a Hollywood movie. Descent, squeaking brakes, a rusty-haired girl on an electric scooter at the edge of the Milky Way and me at the edge of the Earth. One-on-one with the sea. I write dry and concise, but inside I feel as if I was suddenly thawed and cryogen flowed 20 years ago. After a 12-hour operation, my life changed. I was only 22 or 23 at the time, I don't remember exactly. Now, on my bike, I feel like time is coming back. They're just superpowers. This is God's mode. It's like they've suddenly been thawed, and I don't know how old I am now. And the people around you are starting to look at you. And that's what I'm tempted to say. What the hell are you? Let's get on with it. Come on. I'm only 20 here. What's the difference? You don't need to pay attention to the numbers. Damn, that's really stupid. You just have to live. 162nd, 15th, year 0. The cold Norwegian Sea is the color of a frozen blue body. Dead barges lost at sea on the horizon. And somewhere among the dark clumps of clouds, a pink sunset breaks through. Tomorrow there will be a new dawn, just like a million years ago. For this case, you can drink a can of Pepsi and snack on a bomb. And then I started screaming, "Save! Help! Help!" At that moment, I realized that when life is in danger, you need and can ask for help. My beliefs melted like ice on the cold, deserted seashore. "In what language did you call for help?" asked Volodya. Yes, I don't remember anymore, in Russian, in Hebrew, or maybe in English. Now I understand that I shouted into the darkness then in Russian, the one that was the first in my life. The left wheel is sinking more and more into the quagmire. Wave, another wave, the roll increases. A gust, another one, and the left wheel is sucked into the wet sea sand. My three-wheeled Delta trike flips right into the sea. I fall, choking on salty, icy water. It's dark all around, my feet are tied to the pedals, and I can't walk yet. I could have untangled the lines in time, but panic pours cortisol directly into the carotid artery. I can't think constructively anymore. I imagine myself drowning, choking on the burning salt water, the sand slowly swallowing me up. The family will not find out about this incident anytime soon. What will my unborn son be called? The dim light of the lights is somewhere out there, somewhere near the port, and everything is upside down. The smell of fresh algae and the glass wind bring another insidious wave. She smiles meanly, licks my rear wheel of the bike, and it buries itself a few more centimeters with a squeak. Help! 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 I have never been able to ask for help, but apparently you get rid of complexes in this way, in hopeless situations. 2 gray shadows flickered 20 meters away. Someone heard me, but had not yet decided to go to the rescue or pass me by. The last wave, gurgling like a rattlesnake, crept up on me. She licked the skeleton of the bike. I began to slowly fall into the side. Help me quickly, help me, I suddenly shout and do not recognize my own voice. And now salvation comes from the guy who took a picture of me at sunset just half an hour ago. Push, push, of course, faster, I answer almost rudely, not recognizing my own voice. And a minute later, I'm saved. The left wheel escaped from the sand trap. Imagine, in December of this year, I reached the edge of the sea for the first time on my own and saw a pink-purple sunset, which happens only once in a lifetime. Imagine what it would be like for years to look at the sea from afar without overcoming your own boundaries. I definitely wouldn't have been able to get to the water in a wheelchair, and I wouldn't have had the courage to ask someone to take me there. That wouldn't be my victory. Dreams come true sooner or later, and turning points come in life. It's like I'm here in a dream. I just feel awesome. It's all real. I can hear the squeaking of the sea sand under my feet. And now I'm holding a phone that captures the moments of that sunset forever. It's like I'm a Viking riding my mythical Delta trike horse straight out of the Milky Way. Imagine that since childhood you have dreamed that you can fly, and suddenly one day you wake up and your hands turn into wings. You take off easily and freely, fly to the sea. That day I overcame my fear and my legs were strong enough to push me straight to the shore. In winter, when the sand becomes wet and compacted, anything is possible. You just need to know exactly where the sweet spot is, which you can ride after the rain, and I found it. But from now on, I'll be more careful. I won't swim too close to the sunset, dazzled by its beauty, waiting for it to get dark. You need to choose the right time, accurately calculate the moment, like in a casino, and collect your winnings, and then leave immediately. In the dark, it's hard to see where the middle of the Milky Way, made of rain-compacted sea sand, is. 222.17.00 I went to the hospital. God, he is here and now, within these walls, and dripping, glowing with a light bulb, saying with a voice, "Don't fuss, not now, not tomorrow, never fuss at all." This time you were lucky, you got off with a thin scar, but I hope I've reminded you again of what's really important in this game. Somewhere in the hallway, the air conditioner was roaring, and my plans were burning in the streets, but it's okay, because I can swallow air again. Third drip. Supper, bed. A chocolate girl will smile at me with a kind smile, help me eat, wish me happiness and health. How dear to me now is all this light that I cursed yesterday. Why is it so rare when life hangs in the balance, you sincerely breathe like this, feel the taste of ordinary soup, and simple kefir seems so hellishly delicious to you? How do you maintain this state? How can you be grateful enough for what you have every day? The sunrise, the sunset, the sea, the bike, the family, the fact that there are loved ones. They will forgive you, they will accept you as you are. There are interesting friends who have something to learn from. You know, there are two paths to the same ending. One of them is woven from the kicks of fate, suffering, purification. The other is based on the dream of waking up in the morning and seeing a picture, the place where you are going. Dream, then you don't need to go to the hospital. But in general, something like this, we're not perfect. Often our path is woven a little from the first option, a little from the second. I'm very glad that everything is fine. Now the main thing is to find your own precise, small, simple algorithm and just feel and notice how delicious the food is, how expensive meetings with friends and relatives are. 223rd, 17th, year 0. Speaking of the dream, next year, on this day, I dream of being among the participants of the Wheels of Love, a charity bike ride organized annually by the Children's Rehabilitation Hospital. The length of the route is 380 kilometers. Participants need to pay for participation in the event. A third of the hospital's annual budget comes from funds raised through the Wheels of Love. I want to drive all 380 kilometers, using both my legs and arms, and donate a significant amount of money to this innovative and humane children's rehabilitation center. Why? First of all, because this center accepts all children without exception, Israelis, Palestinians, religious, non-religious, poor, rich. Secondly, the hospital has a unique innovation center. Any child facing physical problems that have not yet been solved with the help of existing technology can come here. Dozens of engineers will start looking for a solution. They will find a way out and create a startup based on all this. Not bad, isn't it? Finally, the most important reason why I want to take part in the marathon is that I once rented office space in this innovation center alone. In the hospital, there was a special bicycle near each children's room. Thus, the children were stimulated to start moving their legs, to engage in physiotherapy in an unobtrusive form. One day I was given a chance to climb on a children's rehabilitation bike. And after 18 years in a wheelchair, I drove down the hospital corridor with the help of my right leg. It was like flying. Thanks to the guys from Olam, I bought my first bike, sparing no expense. Absolutely by chance, I became a child for a few minutes and climbed on a bicycle. This is how discoveries are born, accidentally. Now it's my dream to be a part of Wheels of Love. This year I'm not ready enough yet and I need to save some money. But the next one, yes, it's the universe, I'll be there. I made a wish. 233rd, 18th, year 0, no, I can't. On the bike that I have now, my current record is 3 kilometers, but I have to push my legs downhill with my hands and drag myself as if on a winch. Yesterday I woke up, I opened my eyes, maybe a little late, but I opened them, then I swallowed my breakfast, did something quick for work and went to the gym for a class with a trainer. I walked, crawled to the gym, and that's great news, because it's probably my 5th or 6th workout after a lot of training in my life, and I'm on a huge break. I talked to a coach, an old friend, a gray-haired paratrooper who trains in the Siberian system. I drank my chocolate-flavored protein shake and poured another oral into the Intol. Well, what is the life of a millionaire to me? I got home, wanted to sleep, but forced myself not to. I continued to work. As a result, I fell asleep at 2 o'clock in the morning. At night, during the forced wakefulness, interesting ideas and schemes come, almost like Mendeleev's. I suddenly thought, what if I made a bike so that I could turn it, pedal both with my hands and feet? I did some research on the internet, and it turned out that this exists in reality. In Holland, but it costs a fortune. If I were married, I would never allow myself to do this, but I still had money for a down payment on an apartment. I've been saving for 10 years, and I dream of driving it around the country one day. I'll sleep with the cosmic price of it and continue tomorrow. That's basically all that happened in 2 days. Why do I need an apartment now? I pay by bank transfer. A Harley would have cost me less, but my mom said, "Don't think, make your dream come true." And I started doing it, just 2 days from Eindhoven via Cologne to Ben Gurion Airport in Israel. That's what I mean by speed. It's all FedEx, but for the third day, as the necessary means of rehabilitation, I was stuck at customs. FedEx agents tried to help me speed things up, but customs demanded permission from the Ministry of Transport, as for a new vehicle with all the ensuing consequences, an exam at the Institute of Transportation Security Inspections, and so on. It's scary to even imagine how much you will have to go through and how to do it, when the cargo at customs weighs 43 kilograms, is packed, and it is impossible to pick it up. But despite the bureaucratic obstacles, there are wonderful people living in Israel. FedEx immediately gave me the contacts I needed. I am already in touch with the Ministry of Transport, sending letters with technical specifications, photos, videos, documents. I'm waiting. I hope I've put everything on hold. I hope that FedEx and the guys from the ministry will help. My faithful old horse was sent for repairs. He looked at me sadly as he was taken away on a service trailer, like a horse in a corral. They promised to return it as soon as possible in perfect order. The front brake has become too loose, and so are the front gears. And the gears are front, too. Miss you. At the same time, I'm waiting for another new bike for rehabilitation. One where you can use both arms and legs, plus electrical stimulation. Looks like I'll have to sell the red one. What a pity. Now I'm either building a stable or taking over the entire yard from the neighbors. The bicycle, is not only changing the way of life, but also the philosophy. The office is now also on the street. You take a laptop or tablet with you, something to eat, something to drink, and now you're not what you used to be. And you belong to a new era, the social class of the serf. And you belong to a new era and the social class of digital nomads. Tomorrow the forecast promises rain, so I'll move to the gym. I'll wait for my Delta trike to return. Have a great day of the week, friends. I had to steal Freeman's glasses. Ordered by Jalbo Mountain. Glasses model 1905. I'm making a suit for the future bike. There comes a time when you want to wear and do exactly what you like. Champagne with the aroma of spirulina and freedom. No fashion designer will match you with the color of the walls and the style of seashore sand. But here it is. Or rather, there are no walls here. There is an open sea of possibilities. Swim, the world is open. It's full of dangers, but it's open. There are ships on the horizon. But in winter, no one expects scarlet sails. I'm the only one. What is true love? True love is when one tandem bike for two and everyone synchronously turns their pedal while having time to enjoy the views around 2225 1500 year 0 from you 500 for opening accounts on my behalf, from you 500 for opening accounts in the ministries. Economics and trade on your behalf. Dennis, my future agent, told me. Another $450 for a request to the regulatory board on your behalf, and $300 for submitting all these papers to the customs system, In total, about $1,500. Well, if there's no other way, I'll pay. Can I, as an ordinary person, submit all these documents? No, it doesn't. Only an agent can apply to the regulatory committee. Keeping in mind, for each day of delay, you will have to pay a fine. I got it. And after all this procedure, when my bike is checked and made sure that it is safe, I will pay all the money. Will I be able to pick it up? Yes, but, Dennis drawled mysteriously. What's the but? I should be exempt from customs duty, because I have a 100% disability. Yes, that's right, but don't forget about the 17% VAT. And all this about another family with half a thousand? Well, yes, those are the rules, but you want it, don't you? Dennis asks. Listen, accept it. This is your health, and the money, well, you will still find it, my sister consoled me. Okay, to hell with it, I'm in, we'll solve problems as they come, I said, trying to sound more confident. The only thing left to do was to fill out the documents that my agent requested. In the questionnaires, I was proudly called the new importer. I had to indicate the name of the company. Individuals rarely dare to force their way through customs barriers. I am grateful to the Technion Laboratories and Riel University for agreeing to test my bike free of charge. We will cope with bureaucracy. I'll pull out my bike. Do you think it was worth spending $10,000 on this? Scriptum. To be continued. I filled out all the forms and all that was left was to get a few accompanying documents from the carrier. I hope by the end of the week a miracle will happen and my 43 kilograms of pure happiness will be at home, just in time for the new year. 331st, 12th of the 0 year. Here comes the New Year's gift, delivered by FedEx. The journey from the Netherlands through Germany to Israel took only 1 day, followed by 13 days of customs circles, obtaining importer status for a single bicycle, passing road safety checks and regulations. And here he is, with me. The only thing that upsets me is the amount of taxes, but the main thing is that he is here, January 1st, 01. My training with a new gift, a rehabilitation bike. For 30 minutes, but I won't do too much. I remember my experience with that first old bike, the exercise bike. I'll let you in on a secret, I'm getting ready for the 21-kilometer challenge. However, it is necessary to prepare for any competition gradually, without tearing up. 5 kilometers was quite enough to start with. It's an indescribable feeling to pedal with both your feet and your hands, with your hands helping your legs and your feet helping your hands. Many thanks to guide friends Tatiana Shestakova for an incredible gift. T-shirt Hard Rock Cafe Paris. August 1st, 01. Learning an incredible new amazing rehabilitation technology. Latest settings for adjusting special pedals. In March, in 2 months, together with Sasha and the Universal Help, we will rush around the city. It is about 21 kilometers. At the moment, my top speed is 3 kilometers per hour. Sasha's Kaiser running speed is about 11 kilometers per hour. My maximum distance, a distance of 9 kilometers in 3 hours. Basically, I need to do something out of the ordinary in 2 months. Overcome a serious challenge. I have to improve my score at least 3 times. It's a good thing I purchased my bike with an exercise bike together. And with it, despite the rains, I can ride and train without leaving my home. Now I am not afraid of rain or monsoons, even if it all goes on for weeks in a row. A fantastic city and a crossroads of sales, a symbol of the sea city. Oh, this roundabout lives in all dimensions at the same time. Every citizen has their own piece of life and history associated with this place. I have it too. I used to fly here. I'll tell you sometime. But now, in the 10 minutes that I spent in this corner of the circle, several things happened. First of all, the kids offered me to buy my bike. It doesn't matter how much it costs, tell us, we won't bargain, or at least let us make a circle. While we were haggling, I heard boom. The security service drove into a black gelding. Volant jumped out of the Mercedes, and the inspector out of the other car. The radiator leaked, and the Marin got it from the back, crushing the bumper. I'm looking at all this, and all of a sudden, it's like a pasta gospedy, you. Sirens on all sides, and the hairs on his head raised his helmet a few centimeters. Teaching, then. In the South today there is a teaching. It's not easy to live in a country where there is always a war, so we don't relax. But on the other hand, everyone here is like a brother whom so many accidents have happened in the last quarter of an hour. Wow, it's incredibly cool to ride with your dad. He's on red, I'm on mine. We haven't done that since we were kids, but now is the time and place to be free. Do you need books? Clara asked. Yes, always. From where? I replied with a question. We have huge shelves in the hostel, all packed. And all this is given away by books. People leave, you know, the furniture, the sofas are dismantled at once, and the books, they stay. Who needs them? I've made you some nice ones, and if you want to, come and choose some more, said Clara. They also removed the houses for cats. Oh well, them, and today Clara and I finally met. Now, thanks to our most informal mother of the Russian-speaking intelligentsia in the city, I have Tomic Rubin and a couple of publications by Murakami and one Belovin. And we almost survived the pandemic. But we will definitely read books, if we have them. Thank you, Clara. She's only 76, but she's younger at heart than some heavy metal biker. In this woolen jumpsuit with a hood, by the way, she knitted herself during the long quarantines. Very stylish and very informal. It's great to have friends who, regardless of age, are always young at heart. And you know, today was the first time I managed to ride my bike all the way to the Centaur. This is how K-towers are called. Do you know what a thrill it is? That's how you wander the streets, not in a wheelchair, but hunt for Pelivan in the alleys of the concrete jungle. That's life. January 2nd, 2000 of the first year. Tell me, why do people work like this? Work, look at the white wall in their office or at home. That's right, friend, why? Aka said. What's the point of working from home when you can take your laptop right to the seashore and get a free dose of vitamin D while it's a nice warm day? It's going to rain and storm later, I said. Are we going to work here on Sunday? No, actually, come on, Avka shouted enthusiastically to the entire deserted shore. Okay, I agree, I said, just don't distract me. I will develop a new economic model here. Okay, then it's Sunday at 9. I'm waiting for you here. It's a pity there is no toilet, but we'll figure something out, I said. It's so great to meet an old friend again. Now that we have 2 bikes, we can have a blast. It's great to drive with a friend on the seashore. Just have fun, take a break from work, finally, and then work again, but this time in the fresh air, in the style of digital nomads. February 2nd, 01. How often we are only a moment away from action. One small solution. Common sense, official diagnoses, and the opinions of others suddenly disappear in him. It's good to have the same limitless people around you who are able to push you to take the leap. It's like jumping into a waterfall. You just need to make up your mind. We'll decide to push off from the shore. You know, I heard a story from some Australian coach, I think, about lobsters, how these strong, clawed guys get into the tide. The wave throws them a few meters ashore. So they lie on this shore and wait for the tide to come in until the wave brings them back into the water again. But if the wave doesn't come, they stay and die on the shore. Although they have strong enough claws, it doesn't cost them anything at all. Make a few movements, make an effort and crawl to the water yourself. In this way, save yourself. One day I was sitting like this, looking at my bike, smoking, and I decided right now that I would crawl to it. May 2nd, 2000 first year. City, fantasy, urban fantasy. Cool phrase, I mean that every city has a soul. And his body is all of us, like a little god made up of millions of particles. He's breathing. This can be felt because of the humming of the heating pipes at a depth of several meters underground. The city knows, the city feels. He leads you, the city throws you the right people, books, and money. It's full of stone lions, imaginary centaurs, people in black, white, gray, all running somewhere. They're smiling, they're sad, depending on your mood. If you're having fun, you're more likely to notice people smiling. If it's sad, you see sad faces, and even the wind blows gloomily, and the light of the sun brings melancholy to the apartment builders. For some reason, I associate them with vanity. They are always selling old empty apartments with stories, destinies. In such apartments there is either a yellow dull half-naked light, which always makes you want to sleep, or they smell of the new year and the sea, life and dates. All these apartments are cells, cells of one big living organism, a city. I don't know yet what this miracle organism will throw at us today. I guess I'm going to the lighthouse tonight, but in the meantime I'll rest the seas on some of your city shores. July 2nd, 2000 of the first year. Speed, give me what I need. Yeah, I love speed, but only when all the electricity is concentrated inside my body. I develop it myself. I'm an engine. Engine. It's arm and leg strength. August 2nd, 2000 first year. What do you need to be happy? What does it take to be happy? Storms, rains, good air conditioning, and one of hundreds of friends for your virtual friends. The first wave, winter, I'll be here until the new season and hopefully I'll be ready for the new challenge. What does it take to be happy? Storms, rains, but it's all outside, and inside there is good air conditioning, warmth, and a good trainer for your bike. 100 friends for a virtual Tour de France on an exercise bike. I'll spend the winter here, and when spring comes, I'll be ready for a new competition. October 2nd, 2000 of the first year. Yesterday was a very difficult night. I didn't fall asleep for a very long time. I tossed and turned, remembered all my failures, falls, thought about the fact that I had achieved nothing. But somewhere far away through all this background there was a lighthouse, a thought, a lighthouse, a thought. This night will pass. You just need to fall asleep, and now it's gone. I am here, right away, in training. One way or another, I can move my right leg. And that's great. The night passed, as in Zemfira's song. Don't take it into your head, Zemfira, don't take it. You know tomorrow will be Sunday. You'll smile and seem the best, by the way. Samsara is all this is vanity. I realized this many years later. It's impossible to say, I'm going to make some money and give up my health and life for a few years. Or vice versa, I'm going to take care of my personal life and health for a couple of years, and then I'll get my mammoths. Balance is very important. It is important not to rush, to take one thing for one period of time, to evenly distribute the loads and at the same time to live live, noticing the thorns on the trees, the waves on the sea, the smell of seaweed at last. In short, less is more. Although, of course, no one has cancelled sprints either, but still, life is a marathon. It's a nice and wonderful marathon. November 2nd, 2001. Almost 22 kilometers and almost the entire city around the city on his new bike. I drove, made stops, filmed for almost 3 to 4 hours, but for me this is a huge achievement. A year ago, all this mileage would have been a wild, pipe dream, but 10 meters turned into 20, 20 into 200, 200 into 21 kilometers. I just like to look around and drive. Drive slowly, not by car. It's like you're just walking on the sidewalks. February 15th, 2000, first year. What am I happiness? Yes, these are the moments. I'm going in the evening near the shopping complex. Imagine your stomach rumbling like an angry cat. The air smells of fried sausages from sparkling. The air smells of fried sausages from cafes and restaurants sparkling with bright lights. It's cold. I already want to go home, to the warmth, to my favorite bed. And then a group of cyclists, a children's gang, spills out around the corner. The guys are 11 to 12, all so different, Moroccans, Russians, French, and everyone's eyes are shining. And the same question, where did you get such a bike? How much does it cost? Wow, both arms and legs at once. Steeply, let's catch up. I try to run away from them, but I unwittingly find myself involved in the children's movement session. I find myself the first on my bike. An enthusiastic crowd of boys rushes behind me. I'm looking for a way out between the shops, but there are stairs everywhere. I have to walk right down the sidewalk. People scattered around us from a group of young cyclists. And I'm in the middle of the whole party. Past the retail outlets, past all those sidewalks, and most importantly, with a happy face. Imagine, one of my acquaintances meets me, and I chase passers-by past the shops with the kids. But at that moment, together with my cheerful friends, I felt so unhappy. It doesn't matter at all. Our age difference vanished in an instant. And here we are all together in one moment, like heroes of incredible animation, rushing to save the world. Too bad I didn't have a camera. I didn't take it off. And one more step forward. A third workout with electrical stimulation, as part of a comprehensive rehabilitation therapy with my new friend, a super cool bike. So far, twice a week for 30 minutes, I started with 20. It electrocutes me very seriously, makes me come to life, uses the muscles I need on my left and right legs. A total of 12 electrodes and custom-made shorts with polymer contacts. The procedure of preparing, installing, putting on shorts is very time-consuming, but it is worth it. Let your wildest dreams come true. February 20th, 2000 of the first year. Went to the gym years later. My coach and I came up with a new slogan today. Kick the seal out of you. I forgot things for the soul. The elevator on -3 turned out to be broken, and we had to look for parking on -2. Leave the car in the aisle. I was late again. All morning I complained that I didn't go to concerts for 3 years, but here is the result. On the right side, the abdomen begins to go away, completely shifted to the left. So far, everything is absolutely not symmetrical, but taking into account the fact that the left side practically does not work at all, now this is an absolutely incredible success, process and result. Thank you to my mother, sister, Lena, my father, coach, all my friends. February 22nd, 2000 first year. As cliché as it sounds, everything that is not done is for the best. That's what I said to myself when I woke up very late. He grabbed a pill and quickly got dressed, repeating the same phrase. It's all for the best. Today is a beautiful day, the weather is sunny and one way or another I will break out into the street with a bike. I put on gloves and my cool helmet, but then it turned out that the left tire was completely deflated. Well, everything that is not done for the best, and there is no need to worry about a punctured tire. I will go to the workshop. Who knows, maybe that's the way it should be. The ways of the Lord are inscrutable. Have a great day to go, friends. February 23rd, 2000 of the first year. Balance is one of the most important things in my life. I'm looking for him. Sometimes it's easier to go down a steep slope on 2 wheels than on 4. February 24th, 2000 of the first year. Ready for takeoff. Even if the whole day has dragged on and you have to do a workout at 10 p.m., the computer is connected, the contacts are ready. I proceed to electrical stimulation. On February 27th, 2000 of the first year, I received my new helmet bought directly on the official website from the USA. Certified best helmet for extreme cycling and skateboarding. FedEx sent it to me very quickly, but customs stopped me as always. I ended up paying about $80 for the helmet and another $150 for all the additional customs permits and miscellaneous taxes. But I'm happy, because I have a golden helmet and you can even sleep in it. The only drawback is the emblem on the helmet. It is somewhat reminiscent of the letter Z, although it is actually an S. With such a helmet, they can stuff their muzzles on the street, says the father. Yes, I say, and glue the strange emblem over it. How is it possible to tarnish the honor and all the achievements of the innocent letter of peace 0103-001? From my last trip along the roads towards southern Israel. I will tell you right away that driving on the side of the road is not the safest and most enjoyable pastime. Then suddenly the roadside ends and you need to somehow get to the other side. Driving on the oncoming lane, then suddenly a curb 20 centimeters high appears, or as an unexpected obstacle, a flower seller with his bouquets and a sun umbrella. Most striking is the number of dead animals along the roads. I met 3 steppe foxes, 1 cat, and either a ground squirrel or an otter. Apparently, at night they try to run across the road and the bright light of the headlights of cars blinds the wild animals. Now it's not about sad things. I realized that I was clearly not adventurous enough to get home for a week and really enjoy the comfort of pedaling with the last of my strength. The noise of the road, the cold wind, but there is beauty in all this. A view of the world from a completely different angle, from a bridge where you can see your city from a flight height, or a seaport with its countless containers. When you meet people along the roads, the same wanderers, runners, marathon runners, they greet you with a wave of their hand and a smile, and you respond in kind. It's a different world, an unusual one, where you have to calculate the strength to run to the sunset, with its wild beauty, where the engine is the heart, where the power of the motor is the endurance of the muscles, and where you need another 200 meters to reach the city. 02-03-001 Happiness is a butterfly, pour it, but don't try to capture it. March 3rd, 01 year. Imagine that every person has a bicycle and can travel without boundaries, with only the sky above them. Stop the war. It's better to ride bikes. 0.4, 0.3, 0.0.1 years, south close, no matter how far. I have loved this philosophical song since childhood. I was lucky 4 to 7 years ago to attend a Metallica concert in Tel Aviv. It was the best show in my life. My friend and I did not want to spend time in the so-called disabled zone on the 1,000th row of the stadium. We drank half a bottle of whiskey and broke through all the restrictions with the fence. It took us a long time to get to the stage, but finally, with the help of talented music, we were able to get to the end. We got to the Golden Ring area, next to the stage. It was just crazy. Metallica soloist speaks into the microphone on stage. Metallica is here to make you happy. Happy people around us, Arabs, Jews, Russians, Ukrainians. Everyone is happy, everyone is equal. Someone is trying to share a joint with the fans, someone is trying to share whiskey, hugs, kisses, rock and roll. Someone tears off his t-shirt. Freedom from the disabled area. Thank you, Metallica. May 3rd, 2000. 05. May 3rd, 2000. First year. Run for peace. Yes, peace. We did it. We did it together. How wonderful it is when you have friends with whom you can drive 16 kilometers along all the coasts. Well, this is our first bird. We invite everyone to join us for the next ride on bikes, running, with or without children. Everyone wins with us. Thanks to Alexander Benstein for knocking me down and charging me with purpose and motivation. At the beginning of winter, when I could cycle no more than 500 meters, Sasha and I agreed that we would run a half marathon in the spring. And here is almost a half marathon, if you take into account that plus 3 kilometers from home and home can be added. We did it. We did it as soon as the rain stopped. To be honest, this is the first race of this kind, or race in my life. Personal best. We did it. I'm going to sing pop now. I know for sure, it's impossible. Maybe. Oh yes. Heh. Never would I have thought that I would ride a bicycle with my arms and legs to ride such distances. With friends, anything is possible. We're cool. 07.03.001 Traveling through the industrial zone of my city. Some time ago there was a disco somewhere here that I loved very much. Now it's just a garage. Exploring the city at night. Tomorrow you will need to sleep until noon, avoiding sunlight. My bike gives me freedom. 01.07.001 Marathon passed. 42 kilometers. Super voltage, sore muscles and crazy sunshine, but finally I feel free and super satisfied. 01.08.001 My daughter treated me to ice cream from a vending machine in the park. It's about 10 kilometers away from me, 40 minutes by bike. So, I need to get ready for a serious run in 2 weeks. And I'm motivated. My motivation is ice cream. If I drive 20 kilometers, I eat only ice cream. If I drive twice, it's 40 kilometers. 40 kilometers, so I'll have 2 ice creams. Yes, it's a good addiction. 0.9, 0.8, 0.0.1 year. A year ago, I was a bloated, tired old man with rotting heels. What made me so was the belief that a real startup entrepreneur should be obsessed with his idea 18 hours a day and forget everything else in life. That's how I was because there was only work in my life. Only work, 2 packs of electronic cigarettes a day, a lot of flour and sweets, air-conditioned air, and insane fatigue from everything in the world. I decided to get the test done, and horrified by the results, I stopped eating sugar for a couple of months. I also divorced my wife. I went back to my parents and slept, ate, went to the seaside. And so on for several months. Thanks to my sister, I began to eat normally. At least half a raw beetroot and 2 carrots and a couple of celery a day, plenty of water with lemon. I quit smoking my daily 2 packs of e-cigarettes a day. I got a haircut from a stylish, informal hairdresser. I went back to my wonderful coach first once, then twice a week. I started riding my favorite bike. Most importantly, I slowly began to understand what it means to love yourself and that it is not selfishness at all. I took a month off and things suddenly started to get better on their own. I realized that with a 100% disability, I couldn't work overtime. I started working less, but planning more. Then even less, but according to the plan and more effectively. I've read that not all startups work 18 hours a day to go through the so-called valley of death. There are those that have a 3-day work week and are much more efficient. Now I read books and even write a little, communicate with my loved ones, go to concerts. But, of course, all this is largely due to the lifting of COVID restrictions. I almost didn't care about the result. I like to focus more on the moment now. I know that my dreams will come true one way or another, no matter what I do or what social label I have. But, in general, something like that, 01.10.001 year. Friends, after 20 years in a wheelchair, about a year and a half ago, I rode a bicycle for the first time at the Innovation Center of the Allen Children's Hospital in Jerusalem. I started with 3 meters, and now, in gratitude, I decided to take part in a charity run of 52 kilometers to help all children with disabilities, without exception, get help and rehabilitation in the most unique rehabilitation center in the world. The goal of the run is to raise as much money as possible in order to help children. And then came the cherished day, the Wheels of Love, November of the first year. And then came the cherished day, the Wheels of Love, November of the first year after the reboot. Don't stop, don't stop, don't stop, keep going, or you'll lose your rhythm. I'll help, Ronnie said. He appeared several times throughout the track, mostly on heavy steep climbs, and once again a couple of kilometers before the finish line. You're like an angel, listen, you come when you need to, I said as my companion's hand rested on my shoulder to pick up some speed. Don't slow down, don't slam on the brakes, fly hard, don't be afraid, Ronnie said as we climbed another hill somewhere near the mountains to the north. I flew down, with no brakes, the way I like it, overtaking everyone. On the left, on the right, on the left, on the right. A minute later, on a huge track free of cars, it was just me and my bike. Me, my bike in the wind. This is where real freedom is. On the sides there's a forest mountain cliff. We're somewhere on the border with Lebanon. There is an endless descent ahead, a whistling wind, a pleasant chill. And there's no fear at all, there's just an endless smile that melts away by itself. Fear goes away under the influence of adrenaline and the beauty of the world. Just release the brakes, it will help you get over the next climb. Ronnie shouted. He wore sports goggles, a helmet on his head, and a white protective cape. A few hundred meters before the finish line, I'm running out of strength and it seems that I'm about to stop now. And then again someone's hand falls on my shoulder. Come on, let's go forward, don't stop. Another 3 kilometers, about 3 kilometers, and we are at the goal, Ronnie shouts. And suddenly an ATV taxied oncoming at full speed. We managed to dodge, but I hook Ronnie and he with my steering wheel. Flies somewhere, makes a tack maneuver and finds balance again. The guys on the ATV smile happily and greet us. Assholes, thank you for your support. Where are the police? Well, the finish line is ahead. Let's go together. I'm screaming, "No, you have to come to the finish line yourself." Somewhere behind, lagging behind, Ronnie shouts to me, "I'm flying to the finish line." I fly by in an instant. A few hours? Not really. A minute just didn't have time to pass. Someone is waving their hands, shouting. Somewhere out there, my father accompanies me with a police patrol. Vladimir Miller, my father, is waiting for me at the finish line after 52 kilometers, for the first time in my life, which I have ridden on a bicycle with the help of my arms and legs. Somewhere my coach Alec is worried. Okay, family, sister, Lena, mom, but there are a lot of cool people who made my run real and possible, helped to raise as much as $1,000 in order to donate to the rehabilitation center. That's more than I could have bargained for. The main thing is that all the participants of the Wheels of Love bike ride, together with their friends, have already raised about $2 million for the ALIN Children's Rehabilitation Center in Jerusalem. We did it! Thank you so much, friends. Everything is great. Everyone is here, at the finish line, everyone is happy. Only one guy is missing. The guy in the gym glasses, in Ronnie's white cape. I looked for him everywhere, but I couldn't find him. However, the real heroes or angels always remain in the shadows. According to the script, I was frightened that I would not be able to keep the pace, and the police opened the track piece by piece only for 20 minutes, and those who did not cope immediately took me off the track because there was a continuous ascent of 15 kilometers, other difficulties, but the expectations turned out to be more terrible than the test itself. This year I was only allowed on part of the track, on the last day, but hopefully the day will come and I will ride all 4 days, the 17th, 10th, 00, the first year, the message from my ex. You're awesome. Buy food there.